Yes. Fight briefing on a Thursday. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Fight Briefing. Bam, 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 bam. Too much? Sorry. Happy Thursday, everyone. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. I just want everyone to know that, yes, as a child, I played Fortnite before this, and I did not get any victory royales. I'm very ashamed of myself. I apologize for my well, I don't apologize for. I apologize to absolutely fucking nobody. Welcome in the chat. Ride the Tight Coach, In Drunk Savage, Scott McCleve, Johnston Jr., Jose Loco, Van Shipman, Pumpkin, Post Resurrected, Real Gamer, Nixie, 3 in the chat. All right, guys. We're kicking off Ufc Raleigh or UFC Fight Night 166 or UFC on ESPN Plus 26, I think it is. I don't know if it's plus 26, but I know it's UFC Fight Night 166 and UFC Raleigh. Now, I have to just be perfectly honest. I was doing the notes on these fights, and we're going to run through the main card. But outside of the main event, and even arguably the co-main event, I'm a little disappointed with this card. Now, I get it's just a fight night. It's not it's not a pay-per-view or anything like that. But I expected a little bit more for a fight night coming off of Conor McGregor's pay-per-view. But we didn't get that. We didn't get that at all. So, with that being said, I'm going to let you know who is going to be on the main card for UFC Raleigh. Just don't get your hopes up is all I have to tell you, you know, like, yeah. You know. All right. Let's go through who's on the main card for UFC Raleigh. Kicking off the card, we have Jamahal Hill versus Darko Stosic. I'll tell you about that one in a second. Another one, Hannah Cifers versus Angela Hill. I got to be honest with you. When I do the fight briefing for this fight, I absolutely hate it. I can't, I don't know why it's on the main card. I'm okay with it being on the preliminaries of a fight night, but on the main card of a fight night, it still doesn't make any sense to me, and I hate it. I fucking hate this fight so much that my fight briefing for this one is going to be, well, you'll just see. And then we have Jordan Espinosa versus Alex Perez. Now, I actually like this one quite a bit for a couple different reasons. We'll go through it. And then your co-main event, Rafael dos Anjos versus Michael Chiesa. And then your main event, Curtis Blaydes versus Junior dos Santos. So we're going to start off with the first fight of the main card. And let me be perfectly honest with you guys. The fight briefing this week, it's not up to par. It's really not up to par for a couple reasons. One, the fights are absolutely atrocious on this card. On the main card, to say the least. I'm just not into it, guys. How many of you guys, drop the ones in the chat if you're into the card for this weekend? If you're not into the card for this weekend, drop the poop emojis. Because I would give this a big fat poop emoji, to be quite honest. I don't know what the UFC was thinking. Coming off of an awesome pay-per-view with Conor McGregor, the first thing that they should have on their mind is, okay, what kind of fight night are we going to follow this up with? And that is the last thing they did with this card. I'm trying to be nice. Like, I'm trying to be nice and not say shitty things because the UFC is great and I love watching, you know, UFC fights and shit, but fuck, this card is horrible. At least the main card. And then I made my picks for the prelims and I was scratching my head at some of the decisions the matchmakers were making here. But nonetheless, let's start off with Jamahal Hill versus Darko Stosic. This is the first fight of the main card. Now, light heavyweight has been somewhat of a wasteland, we know, for years now, because anytime someone comes in to fight Jon Jones kind of nicks them pretty quick. Jon Jones doesn't really allow anyone to make their way up too far in the lightweight heavyweight division, and when they do, he just, you know, cuts them off. But there does seem to be a new, as I read, generation arriving at light heavyweight, which is very interesting to me. So a big question here would be, is Jamahal Hill and Darko Stosic part of that new generation of light heavyweight, which I certainly hope they are. But we'll see. So we'll start off with Jamahal Hill. Hill appears to be a heavy hitter. I'll start off with that. Nearly half of his wins are by KO TKO, which is awesome. And the dude has a pretty decent skill set. Now, I know I have a tendency to pick the guy who's undefeated and you know, just kind of like, root that guy on more than anyone else. But I feel that with Hill, there's a little more difficulty sort of gauging just how good he is at this particular point in his career. Now, I do worry that we still haven't seen enough of him in order to say that, but as an undefeated fighter, it's easy to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to go for Jamahal Hill, right? He also has a few decisions on his record, and I know some people look at that and go, oh, that's shitty, he's not an exciting fighter. But that's actually a great thing, because that means we know that he can make it through rounds. He has the cardio to make it through rounds, which in my opinion really bodes well for him as a pick at this point for a fight like Stosic. Stosic started well in the UFC, but then he lost twice. Once to a friend of the show, Devin Clark, and then Kennedy Chekukwa, however you pronounce his name. Stosic took some nasty losses to those two. Now, one of those losses was just horrible to watch, quite honestly. And Stosic is also notorious for nut tapping, which I'm really concerned about in this fight. I worry that we're going to see a lot of fouls at play here. The ref is probably going to split up the fight quite a bit, and as for nut taps or eye pokes or whatever, Stosic is sort of a dirty player. I don't know, I can't say he does it intentionally, but he's certainly not careful in his fights. Honestly, let me just sum this one up for you guys by saying it looks like a shit fight for Stosic. Jamahal Hill definitely is getting the layup here. The UFC clearly wants to push Hill. In all honesty, based on Stosic's previous fight, I'm really just not enthused about seeing this fight overall. I do feel that Hill does have the striking power. I think that he is quick on his feet. I think that he has, a very well-rounded game enough to say that he's going to dominate Stosic in this fight. It is tricky to tell, considering, his lack of experience at this level. But against someone like Stosic, I just can't. I don't know why this is on the main card, guys. I got to be honest. I'm so disappointed with this main card. I'll take the risk, and I'm going to go with Jamahal Hill by TKO. Stosic does have certain opportunities to win, but I'm just going to go Jamahal Hill. Let me know who you guys have in the chat for the first fight. Jamahal Hill versus Darko Stosic. All right, Post Resurrected says the Croatian by first round KO. Hey, Ann H. Anna. Bosco says, hey, Ann. Alex Petherick says, Roxanne. How did Moss pick Roxanne? He did pick Roxanne, but I was an idiot and told him not to put money on her. And he didn't. He would have won. He would have won money if he put the pick on Roxanne, but he didn't do it because it's my fault. Anyways. All right. I got JBH's black half brother, Gabriel Gonzalez, by head kick. Wait, we haven't gotten to Gonzalez yet, man. Hill KO. Hello, sweetie. My birthday. You got cake look good enough to eat. Post buddy. Gotta look deeper. Aneth of H. LOL Justin. Roxanne. She's a sleeper. Says Zoman Zombie. Post hello, sweetie. Says Ann H. All right, guys. Let's move on to the next fight because I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to run through this card. I don't care about this fight. Let me just start off by saying that. I could give a flying fuck about this fight. This is another somewhat strange pick for a main card bout. These are two strawweights, both coming off of wins, which is good. Cifers has two in a row. Angela Hill, not quite so much. But due to relatively recent losses, they are miles away from the title picture, which is why I don't understand they're on the main card. They should be on a preliminary card. Moss has entered the room, and I guess Moss is looking for his phone. Scared me. Every time I get the door open, it scares me. All right. I'm going to keep this one quick, short, sweet, and to the point. Cifers is a relatively decent striker. Hill, the biggest strength that I could honestly give her is her striking. She's a formidable kickboxer. She's got a lanky frame. She stands at 5'3". She's got a 64-inch reach. Cifers has the same inch reach as her. It means that she can kind of chain together combinations from a range. Bottom line, It's worth noting that Cifers does have the same reach as Hill. But honestly, I don't fucking care about this fight. Why is this on the main card? Why is this fight on the main card? It doesn't make any fucking sense. This fight should be on the fucking prelims. If there's an early prelim card, it should be on the early prelims. This fight is fucking stupid. There's not even a title contention here. This is a fucking fight night. So I'm going to go with Hill by split decision, but I'm not even going to break this one down. Sorry, guys. I hate to break it to you, but I'm not going to waste my fucking time. I hate this fight. I hate it so much. I can't. All right, let me move on. All right, the next fight on the main card. We've got Jordan Espinosa versus Alex Perez. Now, this one I can tolerate. This one I like. This one I think the UFC did a good job. The matchmakers did a good job with this fight. Now, the UFC doesn't really showcase their men's flyweight division very often anymore because they kind of wanted to push flyweight out ever since Demetrius Johnson left and now Henry Cejudo's taking the title. Flyweight is just a really weird division right now to push. And it is kind of weird that they put a flyweight bout on the main card, but I like it. I really like this. Even top contenders like Formiga, Jussier Figueiredo, or I'm sorry, Davison Figueiredo, they've all sort of been relegated to the prelims, so it's nice to see a flyweight bout on the main card. But to me, I think it's kind of surprising to see it on the fight night. If they were going to put a 125-pound fight on the main card, I think it should be for pay-per-view only because it's so few and far between to see now on a main card that it is kind of exciting to see, which is why I like this fight a lot. Espinosa, let me just start by saying he is much less experienced than Perez. Also, he's got one win inside the promotion, but I wouldn't be too worried for a couple of reasons. Certainly keep in mind that his veteran status is not quite there yet, as you could kind of argue that Perez is. Espinosa's highlight reel does tell a bit about him as a fighter. It's pretty easy determining that he's a great offensive fighter, and I also think it's worth taking into account that some footage I've seen of him shows he can be an incredibly flashy fighter, which makes it exciting to watch. He throws a lot of low percentage moves, which can do a lot of damage, but it doesn't always work for him, which I think he has to be a little bit careful of fighting someone like Perez. Now let's keep in mind, both of these fighters are more grappling-based fighters, right? These are not fighters we're going to want to see on the feet. One of Perez's signature moves coming into the scene is the Anaconda choke. And I don't know if we're going to see that this time around because we do have a more proficient grappler that he's going to be fighting. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some semblance of a submission kind of take place. However, I would also note that Perez's UFC fights, his striking is incomparable to Espinosa. Quite honestly, I would argue he is a better striker than Espinosa overall, but I suppose that would be up to further determination because we haven't really seen too much of Espinosa as of late. As far as Perez's striking power is concerned, we did get to see that brutal knockout that he had over Jose Torres, and then Mark De La Rosa was another. Let me just double check on that. Yeah, Mark De La Rosa. That showed a lot of promise in his striking as well. So those are some things to keep in mind when it comes to Espinosa. But I think bottom line for this fight, guys, I think it's relatively easy to say that this fight is the most winnable for Perez. His striking is far superior. He seems to be much more polished in terms of his grappling, in terms of his wrestling. I do say for those of you who are kind of on the fence for who to pick in this fight, of course, don't count Espinosa out because Perez was knocked out by Joseph Benavidez back in 2018. So I really feel Espinosa might have a shot if he can kind of keep it, if he can kind of keep that range, figure out where that range is pretty quick, and then hit him in the right spot, have that perfect timing. But for me personally, I'm going to have to go with Perez for the win here. I'm going to say by submission, because they're both extremely great grapplers, and I have a feeling this fight's going to go to the ground quite often. And Perez, like I said, is known for his submission game. So I'm going to go Perez for the win, guys. Let me know who you guys have in the chat. Alex says, bye. Love you guys. Love you, Alex. Imagine listening to JBH's opinions on upcoming fights. Whoa! Are you taking a shot at me, Shawnee Mac? Justin Jr. says, can we take calls to give picks for main event, please? I won't roast. No, man, I don't know. I was thinking about it tonight. Someone else made a comment about it in the chat earlier before the stream started. And I was like, I don't know if I should take calls or not tonight. This is going to be a pretty fast run-through simply because I'm not too enthused with the fights that they put on the main card, so maybe I will, but we will see. Perez sub round 2 says a real gamer. Mark Jackson says 200 million. Oh shiz, I didn't realize JBH would see my comment, laughing my ass off. I see all of your comments. I see everybody's comments. So when you take a shot at me, I know. Let's move on to the next fight of... Oh, what did I do? Oh, shit, what did I do? Man, I'm over here clicking buttons now. I got all carried away. All right, so we did Jordan Espinosa, the co-main event of the evening. Guys, are you ready for this? Rafael dos Anjos versus Michael Chiesa. Now, like I said in the very beginning, aside from the co-main event and the main event, I could give a shit about this card, but I love this fight. I actually raced through the first 3 fights just so I could get to this one. So this is going to be a pretty short stream for you guys. But this is a big welterweight fight because with a win, Chiesa would almost certainly earn a title contention. And Dos Anjos isn't quite what he was a few years ago, so that kind of puts that little, like, wedge right in there. But he's still one of the most dangerous fighters out there at 170 pounds. And a win over him means more than a win over almost any other fighter in the division. So I find this fight absolutely fascinating. I do see when you're sleeping, Drunk Savage. So RDA has had a somewhat up and down run since moving to welterweight back in 2017. Now, I was looking at a website that pointed out some very peculiar points, and I'll give them a shout out at the end of the stream too. They pointed out this. Let me pull it up over here. They said he's defeated Tarek Safiuddin, however you pronounce his name, Neil Magny, Robbie Lawler, and Kevin Lee, but was well beaten by Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, and Leon Edwards. Essentially, he's beaten 3 striking-based fighters not renowned for their wrestling and strength, and lost to 3 bigger, stronger welterweights who are amongst best wrestlers in the division. I found that extremely fascinating. I thought there was something very interesting about this. Kevin Lee moved up from 155 pounds just like Chiesa did after struggling to make weight at lightweight. RDA beat Kevin Lee after that. So given that while Chiesa was defeated by Kevin Lee, now I know there's some MMA math going on here. I know a lot of people are not too on board with the whole MMA math thing. Just hang in there for a minute. Given that Chiesa was defeated by Kevin Lee, the kicker question here would be, can RDA take Chiesa into a dark place and beat him the same way that he did with Lee? And honestly, my money says no. He absolutely cannot. I know I mentioned that Lee did beat Chiesa, and that's something that you could use for the whole MMA math thing. But if I had to be perfectly real here, guys, I would argue that Chiesa does come into the forefront when it comes to...
Man, you better back up or you're going to go to sleep. Man, you need to back up or you can go to sleep too.
Drunk Savage!
Fuck Michael Chiesa and his big fat mama. Shout out to Moss's yellow underwear.
All right. If you were on the IRL stream from my channel, link in the description, you would know Moss has a pair of yellow underwear. Oh, guys, I gotta be honest. I've been streaming. I've been doing a lot of stuff all day. I'm not all here. All right, let me get back to the point. Like I said, I know I mentioned that Lee did beat Chiesa, but As far as patience is concerned, as well as how Chiesa positions himself and against his opponents when he's on the ground, when he's grappling, when he's in the clinch, I would argue that Chiesa does come into the forefront there. Now, also let's not forget, Lee moved to 170 pounds, but he's shorter than Chiesa, which means he packed on a lot of muscle. So he was incredibly stocky going into the fight. And when he fought RDA, he kind of gassed out a little bit. Chiesa is 6'1". So I would venture to say that means that he's going to feel a bit more natural at that weight class because he's not going to be as stocky. And as far as his movements and style is concerned, he's actually probably going to be a little bit more limber than Lee. Now, maybe not by much, but a little bit more limber. So bottom line for this fight, I really don't expect to see anything other than RDA doing his best to come close to a submission. RDA is usually pretty good at that. He might have some success standing, but I just really feel Chiesa is going to have the advantage here as far as power and strength are concerned, especially from the clinch and from the ground, and being in a weight class where he doesn't have to starve himself, and he's also still very limber. He's not packing on. He's not like jacking up. So I really feel Chiesa does have the ability to hold RDA down and sort of squirm around positions, dominating the fight overall. So I'm going to go with Chiesa by unanimous decision. Let me know who you guys have in the chat. All right. Jose Loco says Chiesa is the homie. Easy E says nice. Pedo mustache. Heavy Microgro says Captain Obvious for the win. Kenshiro Ryu says Chiesa also has Connor's medical money to train good. Shawnee Max says, what the fuck? Real Gamer Chiesa sub. Round 2. RDA says Boss Coco. RDA TKO says Drunk Savage. Your breakdowns are better than Luke Thomas. You know why? Because they're short, sweet, and to the point. You want to know what he does? He fucking preaches to you, man. He preaches. I don't fucking preach. All right, moving on. Chiesa gets submitted again. Says Reefer on the fringe. Justin Jr. accidentally peeled off the design of 2 of my stickers of the front of the package. Why would you peel it off bro? Justin, we put I can't with this kid. Justin, we sent you stickers. The stickers that are on the package, the outside of the package, are just for show. They're just for promotional reasons. Like if your mailman is walking around with his package that says MMA-Holes and he's like, what's that? And he looks it up. That's not for you. You don't have to peel that off. Your stuff is on the inside of the package. The stuff that's on the outside of the package is just promotional. Like, you don't gotta peel it off, man. Just leave it. Throw it away. It's just there to be there. Okay. I'm just gonna move on to the next, the last fight of the main card. Curtis Blaydes versus Junior Dos Santos. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Chiesa has no power. DJ Cranium says, can't believe how much RDA looks like Alexis Sanchez. That's scary. Flatter says, sup clocks. Mike Jones says Chiesa has no power. Oh, I think I read that. Mike Jones, you said you were leaving. You were going to make me sad. I thought you were leaving because Moss wasn't here and you're a big Moss fan. Luke Thomas streaming be boring as fuck. Hey, we've all tried to get those stickers. Have you really? Drop the ones in the chat if you received a package from the MMA-Holes and you actually tried to peel the outside stickers off the package. Please tell me you didn't. Please tell me you didn't. Those are just promotion. Is my stuff in your package? Says Reefer. JVH is the boss. What's up, Nicole? Flutter says one. I did says, why would you guys do that? It's it's clearly for promotion. It's clearly taped over so you can't get to it. I fucking can't with you people. I just can't. Sean says I tried to peel the MMA-Holes card for the first time. I thought you guys would get the picture or some shit. Oh man. Alright, let's move on. Curtis Blaydes versus Junior Dos Santos. Enough of the packages. Alright. Now, while it's not a complete number 1 contenders fight, this heavyweight clash could definitely have major title implications, specifically for Curtis Blaydes for 2020. Right now, it does appear that the UFC is going to run a rematch between Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier as their next title fight. But with Francis Ngannou, risking his top contender status in his match with Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who's a super heavy hitter. If Blaydes can beat JDS convincingly, there's every chance that he jumps over the Predator to take the next shot at the gold. So that's something to keep in mind here, and that's why this fight is pretty exciting to me. First, Blaydes is almost certainly the best wrestler that Dos Santos has fought since his clash with Miocic, the title holder right now, in 2017. That was 3 years ago. So I think Dos Santos is going to have his hands full with that immediately. In fact, I would actually argue that Blaydes is more dominant in that area than the current title holder, Stipe Miocic, and Velasquez, who JDS also faced. Blaydes' strikes comes in with incredible levels of power. Another thing to keep in mind is that Blaydes' striking is just how quick can he really be, I guess is the question that you could ask. Blaydes is fucking fast with his striking. The only opponents that he's ever failed to take down was Francis Ngannou in their second outing. However, super chat.
Don't you judge me. I wanted some stickers, neutral face.
Why would you take them on the outside of the packaging? We send stickers with every package we send. We always put stickers in there. What? I just don't understand. It's clearly taped over so you can't get to them for a reason, because they're not going to be useful to you. They're already stuck to the package. I can't with you people. All right. Anyways, as far as Curtis Blaydes is concerned, when I mentioned that the only opponent that he ever failed to take down was Francis Ngannou in their second outing, aside from Ngannou, if we take a look at how well Blaydes performs when he does take his opponents down, aside from Francis Ngannou, once they're down, he really starts throwing those elbows, that striking. He's literally just looking to beat his opponents to a bloody pulp. With no interest in submitting you while he's on the ground. Dos Santos fights best at a boxing range. He does do the little ground game here and there, but he fights best at a boxing range. But if an opponent can corral him into the fence and rough him up from close range, he has a tendency to wilt and run out of steam. And that is what I would be afraid of for Dos Santos in this fight. Now, the strengths of Dos Santos include his footwork, his excellent footwork. He's got a pretty tough jab, and he does understand where that range is pretty early on in his fights. He can find it, and he can figure out where he needs to stay. Honestly, I feel for him to win in this fight, the recipe is pretty simple. Blaydes is literally going to try and put a lot of pressure on him because he knows that's where Dos Santos' weakness is going to be. And Dos Santos needs to ensure that he doesn't get near the fence and get taken down by Blaydes, because if that happens, he's done for. Blaydes is going to fucking destroy him. Now, the problem lies in that he arguably is much slower after taking consistent levels of damage throughout his career. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, after he was KO'd by Ngannou, it's easy to think that perhaps his chin isn't quite what it used to be. In fact, I would argue that it doesn't even exist anymore. So, bottom line, overall, I just can't see Dos Santos being able to keep Blaydes away in a range. And if he can't do that, he's almost certainly going to lose, which he won't be able to do that. I really feel that Blaydes is going to come into this fight with horse blinders on, and he's going to know exactly how to take that advantage on Dos Santos, given that he knows the title shot could be within reach. So that's 100% going to add to his drive to win the fight. I think
you better back up or you're going to go to sleep. Man, you need to back up or you can go to sleep too.
Hey, I'm a drunk JBH. Also, he who has the most stickers controls it all. When the world goes to crap, they will be used as money in post-apocalyptic world.
Whatever your excuses are, drunk. Listen, it is what it is. If you want to peel the stickers off the outside, do your thing, buddy. Anyways, I think Blaydes is going to walk JDS down in this fight, pin him into the cage, and take him down and smash him into pieces en route to that TKO win. So, of course, I'm going to go with Curtis Blaydes by KO TKO. Let me know who you guys have in the chat, Blaydes or JDS. Dan H says, FAP, JDS will outlast this dude. Yep, JDS has a lot of footwork, has to use a lot of footwork, but not too much. Blaydes says Flat Earth. Rye the Tycogen says Blaydes. Justin Jr. Peels MMA-Holes stickers during his interviews. You're beautiful and badass at the same time. Thanks, Tension. Nicole says, where's my stickers? Blaydes says Gary Travis. D-Rest Dos Santos. King K says, RDA by decision, JDS by decision. Blaydes is not fighting Dos Anjos. We didn't say Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos is fighting Chiesa, guys. We didn't say Dos Anjos. Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos. Rafael Dos Anjos is fighting Curtis Blaydes. I'm sorry, Michael Chiesa. Get it right, people. Get it right. Jesse, see my tweet to you? Yes, I did, Clocks. I actually responded to you. Sean Hart says, Stick and Mule uses the strongest glue ever. Tension says, you are beautiful and badass at the same time. Thank you. Zoman Zombie says, JDS for the classic KO. LOL, my bad, says Jake Sebastian. And H says, Blaydes Nacho, says Zoman Zombie. Hey now. Sean Hart says, Flat Earth thinking no. Austin Cook says Butter Cyborg. I gotta be perfectly honest with you. I'm gonna go Cyborg. I've never gone away from Cyborg. So Cyborg for the win, man. Alright, guys. Well, that was fight briefing. Welcome to UFC Raleigh. It's gonna be, listen, the card's gonna be a shit night. But as long as we see a couple of finishes, something to make it at least some semblance of exciting, I'd be down for it. Make sure you guys put your picks in on Tapology. Link in the description to the MMA-Holes.com. You can find Tapology over there. Goat Milk. I already put my picks in. I have to be perfectly honest with you guys. Like, this card is just shite. It is shite. I can't even deal.
Super chat.
That Indian dude.
I want Curtis Hellblades to win.
Yeah, me too, man. I feel, well, he will. You don't have anything to worry about. He will. God, this card was so bad. I do want to give a shout out to every place that I did research on. What Culture, Sportskeeda, Betting Shark, Forbes, the Bet DSI, and Tapology. Thank you to all of you guys who helped me put together my research. But man, I am not. Well, this might be the fastest fight briefing you guys ever got. But I am excited for this weekend just so we get a chance to hang out with everyone and, you know, of course, watch some fights and stuff like that. But make sure you guys join us tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern Time for Fook Off Friday. We will be live then. And I'm going to go play some fucking Fortnite. As always, don't be an a-hole. Be an MMA-hole.